What's up guys, it's Maddie here from DCLblogger.com. I'm going to be making another best deals of the week video. I haven't done these for a long while. So let's kind of get into it. We are firstly going to go through the marketplace. So I always evaluate the kind of health of the marketplace, the bottom, how cheap lands are going for at their very cheapest. Seems like 9,000 ish, 9,000 would be the bottom, meaning now the bottom doesn't necessarily mean that isn't the price of the cheapest parcel. It's usually a bit lower than that, because what I usually give it meaning to is basically when someone lists a parcel at a certain price, it should go within like 2-3 minutes, and that's called the bottom. So if someone lists a parcel for about 9,000 mana, 8,999 mana, that one will go pretty fast. So I'd say about 9,000, between 9 and 9,500 mana seems to be the bottom. But in saying that, there's only like 4 or 5 parcels that are under 10,000 mana for sale. So anyone can come along at any time, buy up like the cheapest 10 parcels, and you're going to be close to 11,000 mana as the bottom, or 10,500 mana. Okay, so the next like 11,000 onwards isn't that far away. The thing is, guys, like I have found the Decentraland marketplace and the volume of the marketplace kind of follows the same momentum, you can call it that, momentum of the whole cryptocurrency market. So if you look at CoinMarketCap, we kind of take a look at how well the cryptocurrency market is doing in kind of bird's eye view. Well, BTC itself is about 3,600 US, which has fallen a lot, obviously, since the all-time high, but just generally the confidence, what you see here reflects confidence levels. So there was a time somewhere last year, December last year, where someone came along and was willing to spend $3.50, $3.80 for Ripple per coin. And there was someone that was willing to spend 1,400 US for Ethereum per coin, right? And what I'm referring to is their all-time highs. And now the confidence is so low that even if someone tries to sell you an Ethereum for 150 US, you're not going to buy it, okay? Because there's not that many buyers out there. So I kind of see this as reflecting the confidence levels. Like even some coins such as Neo, like Neo hit 200 US, and now it's gone back lower than 10 US dollars, which again reflects the confidence levels of the cryptocurrency market as a whole. And I feel like this kind of is true, and it blockchain games such as Decentraland and Axie Infinity, Ethereum, and all the other ones, Gods Unchained, they all kind of reflect or are under the cryptocurrency banner still. So in saying that, I feel like the marketplace reflects that even though that parcels are still pretty cheap, like if you go to non-fungible market history, you can see that fiat wise you have some lands are going for under 400 US. So 10,000 mana would be about 400 US dollars and less. And I remember there was a time when about 800 US to 1,000 US dollars was the cheapest parcel you could get. Obviously because mana was more expensive, and the cheapest land was about 12,000, 13,000 mana. But even though the cheapest lands is under 400 US, which is pretty good, they're still not being bought up. So again, like the confidence levels of the Decentraland marketplace is similar to the cryptocurrency marketplace, and I played like that before. I used to be pretty confident that if mana drops in price significantly, then land prices should increase, because fiat wise they'd be cheaper, or at least the same. But it's just not true in terms of, it's not true all the time. Again, it's just confidence and momentum. Even if mana is about 50 cents, I personally think, again guys, this is just my opinions, this is obviously not investment advice, but I personally think that people will still FOMO into Decentraland virtual lands, just because if the momentum is there and they see mana going up, they see the people buying a ton of land, then other people are just going to want to join in. It seems like people kind of react to two different emotions. Predominantly, they act when they are completely FOMO'd in a project, or they're very scared of something and they sell at a loss, or sell at a very low price. It's very rare you get an intelligent investor that will buy when people are selling and sell when others are buying, or when the majority is buying. Warren Buffett quote comes to mind. Anyway guys, let's kind of go through the land sale history. Non-fungible icons are really small, so I'm apologize in advance if this is hard to see. Let's see if we can zoom in. Doesn't seem like we can, not that much. So I'll have to click into each one individually. Maybe we'll just go to mydcl.net for now. And we'll just go through about the last 7 days worth of sales. I feel like something that has been increasing is the price of lands connected to roads, and you'll notice that these are continuing to keep their value. So just keep an eye on this one. This was 19,000 mana. This parcel was 2 sides of it was connected to that particular parcel. Apart from that, you got plenty of land selling for under 10,000 mana. You got this one. I feel like the last 7 days specifically, we've seen a lot of estates sell, and it's predominantly because they've been selling at a really good price. And again, like, this is not really a market where you can expect to get a good price on both your cryptocurrency coins or your non-fungible token or digital assets. This is a time where, like, if you price it right, they will sell. So you can see that this person sold his 24-piece estate connected to District X, I think it's called at the moment. So this little pocket you see over here, let me kind of find it in the Atlas view. It's on the west side, and it's really in between some of the really biggest, most promising districts. So Fashion Street, District X, Virtual Reality Shopping Center. You got a Genesis Plaza up here, a Genesis Plaza down here. Both of these are Fashion Street. So this specific pocket is seen as a bit of a hotspot. So this guy that sold or bought or sold this land for 749,000 mana, which is about 28,000 US, I believe. I think it's 28,000 US, something like that. So say 30,000 US dollars for this piece of land. It's a really good spot, and it was a decent price as well. Like, lands here go for about 20,000 mana if they're not connected to anything. The very cheapest, I'm talking really, really cheap. Usually they go for about 25,000 mana to all the way up to, I've seen 60,000 mana for some lands to sell, individual ones. So this guy got 24 of them with 4 pieces connected directly to District X. I think another 6 pieces, 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 pieces connected to the middle road, and it's connected. It's a full estate. So I think that's a very, very nice estate to get, and he paid a pretty good price for it. So that was a decent price. Not a really good deal, but definitely not a bad deal. Like, it's like any lower than that, and I probably would have picked it up myself. And probably another 100,000 or 200,000 mana lower than that, I would have picked it up myself. So you've got a couple more. Seems like parcels that are one away from districts seem to somewhat hold their value. This one sold for 12,600 mana. This one sold for 21,900 mana because this parcel was in between 3 roads, or it had 3 sides of road across it. 19,900 mana for one connected to Dragon City. You've got the one in the 50-50 range, the inner city quadrant, the top west, selling for 25,000 mana. I feel like lands that sell for between 20 and 30,000 mana seems to be the range for lands sold in this pocket. You can see this one sold for 24,500, one spot away from double. That's a pretty good price. I reckon you could probably resell that for about 35,000, maybe even 30,000, or 30 to 35,000. Again, lots of under 10,000 mana sale. This one and this one. These 3 right here. These 3 over here. So 1, 2, 3. That sold for 12,900. They were the cheapest in this area for a very long time. They're right next to my estate over here, but I think the cheapest you can get here is probably like 14 or 15,000 mana. Back in the day, like 15,000 mana would be a decent price for lands in between a bunch of districts. So this area here, like in between here, in between here, in between here, or even in between here, 15,000 mana seemed to be a really decent price to get a parcel. Now they're selling for a little bit less than that, but they're definitely keeping their value just because they're in proximity of some really good districts. Sorry guys, I'm sniffing a lot. I've got a bit of a itchy nose. What else? These estates here. So what happened was there was a pretty large investor that owned or owns this estate here. Pretty massive, really good location. I mean, like you can't get better than that in terms of an estate. And he also owned this whole section over here. So he seemed to split them up into two, and he's selling these off bit by bit in like smaller estates. I think he's trying to cash out some of his gains, or trying to cash out all of them. So there were some nice deals that could have been picked up, and I picked up a few of them personally myself. Um, like this one sold for 500,000 mana. This one, guys, this was a really good place for an estate, and you'll be very shocked and surprised to learn how much this guy spent at auction for even like a couple of these parcels. So remember, this sold for 500,000 mana, right? And someone picked it up for 250,000 mana just before that, 3 days ago. So he bought it for 250,000 5 days ago. He sold it within 2 days for 500,000 mana, and made a quick 250,000 mana flip, which is about 10,000 US. Decent money. But the guy that even got it for 500,000 mana got a pretty good deal, and I'll tell you why. Okay, I think it's this one. This parcel alone. Look how much the price was for it 12 months ago in the first auction. 269,000 mana for a single parcel. But the thing was, it was at this really important junction, right? There's not many of these. I think there's only let's see how much this one sold for. 2 minus 49, 35,000 mana. Whoa, okay. Don't really know why this one sold for that much, but it did. And so this guy definitely spent a lot of money for it. So picking this up at 500,000 mana is a decent buy. So yeah, a lot of the estates that sold were the estates from this massive estate. Pretty good deals. Like this one, I picked up a few of these a while ago. You can kind of see the transaction history if I do this. So you can see that it sold for 300,000 mana, 25,000 mana piece. Pretty decent buy. I purchased it myself for 179,000 mana 4 days ago, and I sold it again 3 days, about a day later for 300,000. So there's about 120,000 mana profit for me for this one. And I picked up 3 others that I did a similar thing for. You can see this one here as well. 7A is my wallet address. 7A. So this one same deal. Pick this up for 180. Pick this up for 180. Pick this up for 180. And sold each of them for about 300,000 mana each, about 260 to 300,000 mana each. So about 300,000 mana of profit there, just in those 3. But even at the price even at 280,000 mana, it's pretty cheap. Like these lands go for about 35,000 mana just connected to double road, and getting 12 of them for 280,000 mana is much less than 30,000 mana a piece. But again, guys, like we're at a kind of, it's a weird place in crypto at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of confidence behind, long-term confidence behind crypto, but just there's a lot of I guess people just don't know when to invest with Bitcoin, because it's such a low point, and we don't know if it's going to drop lower. So there's definitely a bit of hesitancy that I can see. All right, so you can see 4 days ago there was a ton of estates being sold. Look at this. Look at all these estates that sold 4 days ago. 4 days ago. Look at this. We're still in here. 4 days. 5,000, 1,000, 6,000, 2,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. So definitely a lot of, this one was 10,000 almost. A lot of volume, guys. A lot of volume 4 days ago for estates. And then most of it came from that massive estate being sold off. Even though lands are estates, they're still not selling for that much if they're not connected to a road. You can see this one here sold for 90,000 mana or 89,000 mana for 9 lands, right? That is it's less than 10,000 mana a piece. So even if there are in estates, you got to remember that estates, they need investors to be very confident with Decentraland to pull out thousands of US dollars to invest in these estates. Often 2 to 3,000 mana, 2 to 5,000 US dollars to invest in these. So you're definitely looking for bigger time investors. Even if they've way more value, like 9 lands connected to each other will give you a way bigger build height. But it's just not the time to sell lands at this time. It's just a bit of nothing exciting with this market. Like you're not seeing really big prices, people picking up lands for really good prices. It's good, meaning like for the seller. It's more of a buyer's market at the moment, as sellers are kind of dropping their price because there's not much volume. There's not many new people coming into crypto in general. Any really good buys that I saw? 3 land estate for 39,000. 200,000. Okay, so this 4-piece over here, sold for 200,000 mana. If you break that up and if you see them as individual parcels, like I see 1 land away from this Genesis city. So if you're not directly connected, but you're 1 land away, you usually go for about 25,000 mana. So 25, so 50,000. And if you are directly connected, I'd say 65,000 would be what it sells for. So 65 plus 65 is 130, plus 50 is 180. So if you sell them individually, you could probably get 180,000 pretty quickly. But considering it's an estate and the person paid 200,000, 20,000 more mana got him an estate, all 4 of them pretty much technically connected to Genesis Plaza, I would say that's a pretty good buy. You got two that are 1 away from Fashion Street. This sold for 15,000 mana a piece. I think the person resold it for some profit, so that was a pretty good buy. 2 lands connected to Dragon City. Oh, we're 9 days away. Okay, so that's the activity with estates. Let's see for single parcels if anyone picked up some really good deals. A lot of activity. It's not too bad. I mean, like, we're still turning over in some days 1 to 2 million mana a day in volume, but the volume seems to be for lands that are priced really, really well. I would say this one was a pretty decent buy. 24,500 mana for that one. It's not directly connected to a land. This one was 12,900. We saw that before. Let's kind of increase. Can we go next? See if we need to enlarge these. Is it a bit better? It's a little bit better. Okay, let's go with that. 36,500 connected to a double road. That's a pretty good sale for the seller. 50,000, whoa, for a double road. Okay, seller got lucky there. That's pretty expensive actually for a double road. Sometimes like you'll get someone who's looking for a specific land. So it's up to you. Like, do you want your land to sell straight away? If you do, then you got to price it pretty competitively, pretty cheap. If you're happy to wait like a week, a month, even a few months, then you can price it a little bit more expensive and see if someone comes along to buy it, at a somewhat premium price. 15,900. Nothing really special. Like, not that many of good deals. I would say just those massive estates were definitely a good deal for someone who could pick them up quickly. Anything in the 9,000 mana range seems to be buying them at a bottom. What about this one? 40,000 mana for one connected to the 50-50 within the 50-50 quadrant. It's a pretty good sell. 59,000 mana. Okay, that's pretty expensive. I don't know why someone bought that. Again, remember that pocket I was telling you guys about earlier in the video? Look, 48,000 mana for a land connected to the road in that area. This one was a decent buy. I was thinking of buying this myself actually. Vegas City, double road, single parcel in between the double road and only 1 parcel away from this kind of squiggle bit of road. 49,000 mana for that. It would be it's decent price for a long-term hold, but I can see this reselling for about 65,000 mana, or even just keeping it, just because there's not that many lands that are connected to Vegas City. 17,300. So these are lands that are connected to a single road. So 16,000 mana. Remember, we saw one for 19,000 mana a while back. This one was a single road, somewhat close to a Genesis Plaza, sold for 26,000 mana, 24,000 mana. What are we? 4 days. So we can see there's still a lot of land being sold, guys. 7 days. I'll do a bit of a comparison with other blockchain games in terms of how well Decentraland seems to be doing. 27,500 mana for one connected to the single road near Genesis near Vegas. 12.5, 16.5. Anything else we can look at? 24,000. Seems like if you're a single road, if you got a parcel connected to a road that's close to Genesis Plaza, you can expect over 20,000 mana for your parcel. This one was 1 away no, 2 away, and it got 17,000 or 18,000 mana. Again, 18,000 mana for this one. So that's 7 days. All right. But what else? Another thing I wanted to show you guys is let's just do a comparison with some of the popular blockchain games. All right. So we got Axie. So we got Decentraland as a whole. And the past week we've done 218,000 US dollars in just the estate volume alone. So remember that number, 218,000. Add that to the single parcel, so 218,000 plus 71. That's about 290,000. So 290,000 US dollars just for Decentraland. Okay, so like hold that in your mind. 290,000 for Decentraland in the past week. 76,000 US for CryptoKitties, which is about less than 1/3. So CryptoKitties is less than 1/3. Axie Infinity, 7,000 US dollars. Obviously nowhere close to 290,000 US dollars. You got Ethereum on, which is 4,500 US dollars. Etherbots, which I doubt is doing much, 4,000 US dollars. Crypto voxels, 1,000 US. Like, we are so far ahead in terms of US dollar or even mana ETH volume. It's ridiculous. ETH Town is kind of dying out. CryptoPunks, what about CryptoPunks? $680. Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the money, still the volume, it's still healthy with Decentraland. It's just that a lot of these are not as many new buyers as we need. So currently people are selling to people within the Decentraland community, which is fine, but it's always good to have new people investing, which is what is going to be a focus this year for Decentraland, kind of marketing to developers, getting content onto Decentraland so it's ready in Q1 or Q2. I think the aim is Q2, second quarter, to release Decentraland. But yeah, that's what's happening at the moment. I was going to go through some decent deals in Decentraland, like what are good deals to buy at the moment. But like, there's a lot of okay deals. If you can pick up estates where you can buy lands that are less than 10,000 mana a piece. I think I saw one before from Napoleon. This was not too bad of a deal. Like, it's close to districts and it's near the lower end. So this one is selling for 19,500 for 2 lands. That's less than 10,000 mana for lands, you know, pretty close to districts, even though it's quite far north. But it's definitely the cheapest in this area, unless I missed something or someone's uploaded something in the time that I've started this video. You can get some lands over here that are decent price as well. What about this one? These are mine, but you can get one way cheaper than even the ones that I've got listed. Like, some of these lands some of these estates you can pick up for less than 10,000 mana a piece. And estates are going to be where it's at, guys, especially like 2x2s and 3x3s. You know, an estate like this, an estate like this, these are going to get rarer and rarer. Like, double 4-piece estates is probably like, I don't know, 50 of them or maybe 60 of them in all of Decentraland. They are not common. All right, let's just say there's 100 of them, right? That's still way less than, you know, however many parcels. There's 45,000 single parcels of land, and out of that, I'd say 60 of them are 2x2 estates. So these are going to be definitely rare, more rare, and they're not, like, if someone wants a decent estate, then they can, you know, spending 50 or 60,000 mana on an estate of 4 pieces as opposed to 10,000 mana on a single piece. It's not that far of a stretch for a somewhat serious investor or developer that wants to develop a good experience there. So I definitely think 4-piece estates are going to be where the value's at once the market does pick up a lot more. That's why I've personally invested in a lot of 4-piece estates. You can see I got one here, I got one here. I've got some 3x3s over here. I've got another 3 2x2s over there. I've got another 3 here, another 3 here, another one up here. So I've invested in a lot of 4-piece estates. I definitely feel this is where the value is going to be when investors come in. So I've got that for myself. So if you're waiting to hold long term, it might be a good idea to get them. But again, guys, do your own research. See what kind of risk levels you're okay with. NFTs or blockchain games are very risky. I'd say they're more risky than cryptocurrency trading, just because there's just so much uncertainty about the blockchain gaming market. Even though it has a lot of followership, but it's still fairly new. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments how you went. Keep your eye on Bitcoin. Keep your eye on the markets. Make sure there's a lot of volume in whatever you're investing in. And I hope you guys the best of luck out there.